Welcome back, Tribe. Have one here from More Perfect Union. It says, private equity's ruthless takeover of the last affordable housing in America. Get into it.
I worked my whole life, and this is what it comes down to. Some greedy person wanting his big chunk out of what little bit I had.
How much longer can you afford to live in your home?
1 month. I don't know what I'm going to do. Hope that I don't wake up tomorrow.
Jeez.
That's crossed my mind.
One of the most important forms of affordable housing is under threat. They're called manufactured housing communities. You might know them as mobile home parks or trailer parks, and they often get a bad rap. But 22 million Americans call them home for a reason.
We're pretty much the last oasis of affordable housing in this country.
These parks are at the foundation of America's housing market, often the last line of defense against homelessness. But over the last decade, these communities have become the target of a new kind of landlord.
Of course they did.
Private equity.
Private equity firms are increasingly getting involved.
Some of the biggest investors in America have moved into this industry.
People living at a local mobile home park outraged over the sharp increase in lot rent.
Rents were raised by nearly 60%.
Their rent could increase by thousands of dollars a year.
You can't hate the government and corporations enough. You can't change my mind on that. You would think they would get into, middle class America. Rents are high. Turnover is low. Cash flow probably really good on those properties. That's not enough for them. They want to nickel and dime the absolute bottom of the barrel in society, the poor people that are barely making it. 60% rent increase in what time span? Probably something so short and stupid. It's kicking a lot of everyday struggling American. Like that woman, she seems retired or maybe on disability, can't work. She's going to lose her home because of shit like this. You cannot hate these people. Every time they tell you to look at your neighbor, to hate the person in front of you, that they divide us into infinitesimally smaller boxes of who's a victim. Look up. Look up at the people who write the laws. Look up to these cocksuckers that bend over with no lube for the corporations of special interest that make all the laws that make your life more difficult. Point the finger up. Stop pointing at each other. Red or blue, it doesn't matter. The guy's yard sign of who he voted for is so fucking irrelevant when they all suck corporate cock. Never forget that.
A group of mobile home residents are protesting their living conditions.
It's like you genetically bred a superior predator and let him loose in a target-rich environment. This is actually a good day. Sometimes it's like mud.
This corporation is putting profits ahead of the safety and welfare of our local citizens. And this we will not allow.
So why have manufactured homes become private equity's latest target? And what can be done to save one of the last forms of affordable housing in the country?
Nothing is safe, bro. You will own nothing.
I've lived in manufactured homes for 50 years, maybe more.
Madeline Beckett lives in a park outside of Lansing, Michigan.
This park was run the way a good park should be run, by the same couple for years and years and years. They were a little stern, or she was a little stern. She was a lot stern, but nobody pulled any punches with her.
Like most people in manufactured housing, Madeline owns her home, but pays monthly rent to the park owner for the land it sits on.
When I retired, I looked at my money and my situation, and I'm like, okay, great. I knew what the rent was. It was a third of my income. I don't live high on the hog. I'm not going to Paris anytime soon. And then the conglomerate came in and offered apparently the owner money that he couldn't resist. I looked it up and I went, oh dear, I think we are in trouble.
3 years ago, a private equity firm bought Madeline's community and later sold to another firm. Since then, her monthly rent plus fees have jumped 50%.
Golly.
Instead of what I thought the rent was going to be, it's $200 more. I have nowhere to go. Just the other day, my daughter went with me to the food bank, and I hadn't done that before. I haven't been poor. I worked for 45 years. There is no American dream anymore. All it is survival.
Survival. Like I told you guys, this is why, perfect example of why so many men, especially when we talk about the passport, bro, expat life, who cares what you call it? We're talking about guys that have put in their entire lives to come out the other end with a 401k or a pension that is not enough, and they're living just like this woman is on the edge. $200 can set you over your limit and you lose your place of residence or whatever. You end up homeless potentially. You're going to food banks. You worked 40 fucking years, man, and you end up on food bank lists. Isn't that insane? You can come out here. I'm in Thailand right now. You can come out here and get a place for $200, $300 a month with amenities you couldn't dream of, cheaper than what this lady is paying for, and eating street food if you want for a couple of dollars, one meal. It's insane, the quality of life difference. You just have to give up things like, they're not English speaking. The proficiency isn't that high in a lot of places. Who cares? You're not going to end up homeless. You have a roof over your head. You can afford food. You don't have to worry about going to food shelters and shit, food banks. Like, what the fuck? This is the whole point when I say we're working for financial freedom. It's to avoid this at all costs. This is the nightmare. Putting in your entire life into a job so that you can come out at 67, 68, whatever the retirement is. 71 is what they want to raise it to pretty soon. So you can come out of that already half dead, majority dead. You only got mostly like 5-6 years in you. That's what the insurance companies, the life insurance policies, they know that 5-6 years and you're going to croak because you got nothing to do. You waste away. If you had sound money, behavior, and invested wisely, you're probably doing all right. But there are a certain section of Americans that are living on the brink, on the edge, and they need to look up life overseas because you can't. You just cannot survive in America on your pension. With rising inflation, the economics look completely messed up. Your pension is absolutely disappearing. And that is besides them renting or raising rent on you. Let's just say you even own your own home. There are people that own their own homes, and the property value has increased so high that they can't even afford the property taxes every year. And they're being priced out, forced to sell their homes. You worked your ass off your entire life. That's your nest egg. Now that you're out on your pension or 401k or whatever, the value of your home has skyrocketed so much because of this phony fucking money we call the dollar, where they're printing infinite amounts of it, completely shitting on our ways of life, debasing the dollar. Absolute should be tried for treason. That's a whole nother conversation. And then you wake up one day and you go, wow, all this hard work for what? Because now the tax man, I can't afford my own property because it's ballooned in price because dollar isn't worth fucking jack shit. So now I have to give up my house because I can't afford the tax payments because my pension is fixed and this is all I get. This is all I have to work with. Isn't that insane? It's a fucking travesty. Land of the free my ass, dude.
Well,
during the pandemic, institutional investors started to buy more manufactured housing than ever before. Between 2020 and 2021, they made nearly a quarter of all manufactured home purchases in the U.S. Today, 12 private equity firms own at least 1,200 parks nationwide, according to the Private Equity Stakeholder Project. In Michigan, private equity owns 1 in every 10 parks.
There is an overall trend in our economy to identify who has the fewest choices and then squeeze them.
Paul Terranova organizes manufactured housing residents in Michigan.
While folks often call them mobile homes, they're not really particularly mobile. Wall Street investors, private equity firms, hedge funds kind of figured out that folks living in manufactured housing communities are trapped. They can't move.
It costs $10,000 to $20,000 to move one of these homes, and most people who live in them can't afford that.
If you think about the fact that the average manufactured housing resident lives on about $35,000 a year, that's generally out of people's range.
Because they can't move, they're uniquely vulnerable to predatory landlords who can charge the highest rent residents can bear.
There's a guy named Frank Rolfe who runs something called Manufactured Housing University.
Okay, we're now at her second park. We're getting out again. So here we are.
He was quoted saying something along the lines of, owning a mobile home park is like owning a Waffle House and having your customers chained to the booth.
The big thing is they can really tolerate rent increases really well. And it pretty much works.
About a piece of shit. Squeezing poor people. They can tolerate rent increases really well because they have no options because they're already squeezed to death by life's expenses. So what is it if we just squeeze a little more out of this dry ass rock? Squeeze them for everything they have.
Throughout America because there's so much need for affordable housing right now.
That business model, a reliable stream of payments from captive tenants, is a big reason why these parks are so lucrative. providing investors with one of the...
Look at these pieces of shit. Look at all of them. Look at all of them just doing the walk, bro. Imagine you're living in one of these houses and these blood-sucking pieces of shit are taking a cool little tour of how they're going to invest and rip the life from up under you. Oh, yes, look at these poor people, these captive tenants that can't move. Yes, we're going to do a $200 increase on all 300 of these units and make a killing while these people are getting put out on their ass. It's insane, bro. Welcome to America.
The highest annual returns of any asset in real estate, higher than offices, commercial, industrial, you name it.
Hey, trailer park.
This is a financial play to them. They don't care about us. They'd just as soon evict us, take our homes, and then rent them out to somebody else for $200 more.
Unreal.
Theo Gantos lives in a park near Flint, Michigan. 3 years ago, it was taken over by Homes of America, an affiliate of the hedge fund Alden Global Capital. Alden Global is best known for buying newspapers across the country and stripping their assets.
Yeah, we had a pool, before the Homes of America. We still pay the same amount as though we had a pool.
Wow.
And as though we had a community center, but we have no community center either.
Since 2021, Homes of America has gone on a buying spree, spending nearly $300 million to acquire 138 parks across 17 states. They've raised rents and aggressively evicted residents. After years of neglect, only about 15% of the lots in Theo's park are still occupied.
Look at what they did, dude. Look at this. These are land grabs. It's very simple. They're preying on poor people for land grabs. Then they're going to sell this entire lot that they own once they fully evict the very last person there and sell it off to some big company that's going to build like a shopping complex or luxury apartments or some bullshit on what used to be this lot for affordable housing, mobile homes. This is all the long-term play for them. This is fucking wild. Your government really does care about it. Land of the free, home of the brave. Yeah. Fight for what's yours. Yeah. Please defend this government. Please defend your country right here. Look, preying on its own citizens. How? Because the money that gets washed through all these political campaigns comes from these exact companies that are allowed to do this shit. Your government hates you. They spit on you. They're revolted by you. And you vote them in. Trust me, red or blue, you choose to get fucked both ways.
And who is Homes of America?
Homes of America is just a shell within a shell within a shell. Homes of America is Randy Smith.
Randall Smith is the founder and chief investment officer of Alden Global. He lives in Palm Beach, Florida. As of 2017, he owns 17 mansions. He has since sold 14 of them for a reported profit of $57 million.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this is the plunder of private equity. This is what they do.
Okay, everybody ready? Everybody rolling? All right, good afternoon.
In August, the county prosecutor brought charges against Homes of America's local LLC for operating the park without a license. It's the first time that the owner of a manufactured housing park in Michigan has ever faced that criminal charge.
A key element in the North Morris Estate's inability to obtain a license is its seeming refusal to fix the park's water problem.
Well, when the water comes out like this,
oh my God.
It kind of...
Yo, I thought he was like side hustling, making some form of honey or something. Or some juice. I didn't know what the fuck this was. This is the guy's water from his faucet. Unreal, dude. Look at this. And they only managed to find them on this technicality, $100,000, when the CEO alone sold 14 mansions for $57 million profit. You think they give a shit about $100,000? What? They just spent $300 million and will be spending much more on these mobile home projects. Wow. That's his water, dude. This is this is the most powerful nation on earth, the most wealthiest, richest, exuberant nation that's ever existed in the history of man. This is what the water looks like coming out of people's homes. The world laughs at America. The world laughs at Americans. You know how Americans say, like, you know, crazy shit that's going on in Western Europe with its laws and freedom of speech and shit? They can look back on us and go, look at your water. Do you understand that they can say, look at the drinking water you have for some of your residents? I'm shocked, bro.
Water comes out like this, it kind of ruins your whole day.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll get the attention of the out-of-state corporation that owns this park and force its officers and directors to do the right thing. for the residents of this community.
Do the right
It's
thing.
clear to me this corporation is putting profits before people.
Honestly, the warrant should be to Randall Smith, CEO of Alden, but he's hidden himself behind multiple shell layers. So getting to him is hard.
These big companies buying up these communities now need some oversight because right now they're free to abuse residents in pretty much every way they want.
Holly Hook lives 30 minutes away at another park, owned by private equity firm Haven Park Communities. That's the same company that bought Madeline's Park, and it owns 63 other parks across the country. In the last 6 years, Haven Park has doubled Holly's housing costs.
Wow.
To avoid homelessness, she's had to take on 2 roommates. What power do you have right now in the existing legal structure to do anything about the rising rent or any of the fees?
There's absolutely no recourse right now. About a year after this started, it's like something just broke in me, and I started talking to some neighbors saying we've got to gather and do something about this.
Residents were up in arms and they started going to their local township council meetings and their city council meetings. And a few of them were able to make contact with a couple of state representatives, a Democrat named Senator John Cherry.
A lot of people from the district went up to him and told him about what Haven Park was doing. And that's what got him interested in drafting the bill package.
What the legislation tries to do in the broadest sense is to weed out the bad actors in the industry. What we're trying to do is make sure that folks don't get exploited. That's what this is about.
State Senator John Cherry is a sponsor of legislation that would protect residents from the worst abuses of predatory landlords. The bills were drafted in 2021 by a coalition of residents and advocates in direct negotiation with the landlord industry group.
It was a very collaborative process that actually included the Michigan Manufactured Housing Association.
The legislation would require landlords to justify any rent increase above the rate of inflation in front of the state commission. It would also limit the fees that landlords can charge, make utility charges transparent, require notification when a park is sold, and force landlords to pay fair market value for a home if a resident is evicted.
These are really modest.
Yeah, modest, bro. Imagine not having those protections in place already. It sounds so basic. You have no rights. You have no rights. You have no rights. That's insane.
Protections. So it's not everything that we need right now.
Wow.
It's not going to set the rents back to what they were or anything like that, but it would start to make things more fair.
Imagine, just listen to this. Imagine if someone doubled in the last 6 years your rent just because they fucking felt like it. No justification. They didn't upgrade the lot you're living on, the neighborhood, the count, nothing. Nothing was built around you of value. They just said raise. Why? Because we feel like it. Is there any justification? None at all besides profit and bottom line. That's it. That's it. They didn't build pools. They didn't build tennis courts. They didn't fucking have a school built next to you, a shopping complex, a plaza, nothing. All designed to empty the lot out so eventually the land could be sold to somebody for much more money so they could develop something much more high-end on it. Unbelievable.
It would just be a modest start.
In the state's last legislative session, the legislation passed the House with overwhelming bipartisan support.
The bill is passed.
But then something changed.
In the early part of 2022,
let's see,
the Michigan Manufactured Housing Association did a 180, pulled their support.
Of course.
And it died in the Michigan State Senate.
Beautiful. You see how money rules America? There you go. He just explained why it's all bullshit. Your vote doesn't matter. Who your politician bends over for does. Special interest groups and corporations. That's who run our country. There you go.
When we looked at the records, we did see that coincided with the Michigan Manufactured Housing Association Political Action Committee suddenly getting some very big donations.
Wow. Oh, wow. 131,000, 227,000. Look, Robbie took the money. Anthony took the money. Who else took the money? I'm so sick of telling people this shit. You do not live in a free country. You have no fucking rights. Corporations and special interest groups drive every single legislative action in this country. You are a slave. You are not free. This is not the land of the free, home of the brave. This is land of the slaves, home of the cucks. You're getting fucked every which way. You just don't even know it sometimes. This is just one glaring example. This is why I tell people, go overseas, go where you're treated best, go where your dollar goes the furthest. If you're on a pension, if you're on a 401k plan, if you have somehow money come in from dividends, or you have a portfolio that's, large enough to give you some residual income, get the fuck out of America. It no longer serves the people. It absolutely does nothing for the average American, but suck them dry. What a joke, dude.
Over the course of a year, two Haven Park executives gave $358,000 to the industry PAC.
And that's right when the Manufactured Housing Association just totally pulled their support.
That money is some of the people that I know, that's their grocery money. That's their prescription copay. That's the medicine that they're doing without and the food that they're doing without because these people were gouging them.
The most vulnerable residents in Michigan are being taken advantage of. And some people have to choose between rising rent, medications, and food.
In February, Holly, Theo, and other residents went to the state capitol to lobby for a new version of the bill package.
I'm testifying in support of Senate Bills 486 through 490. There's no free market when residents are trapped.
Its fate will be decided in the upcoming legislative session, this September and October.
We have overwhelming support from the Democrats in the House, and we have some Republicans who've committed to support as well.
How many legislators would you say you've met with?
I would say at least 100 of them. We've met with almost all of the Michigan Senate or their staff, and now we're starting to work on the House.
Manufactured housing communities are just one type of property that large investors have targeted in recent years. But these parks are ground zero in a fight that affects all of us, the fight for meaningful control of our neighborhoods and for housing that people from all walks of life can afford.
Everybody deserves drinkable water. And everybody...
Can you imagine saying that shit, dude? Oh my God, this makes my blood boil. Because I could imagine my parents being some of these people, these victims, or grandparents. We all have them. We have a basic right to drinkable water. That's what they're worried about. Are you fucking... I'm so disgusted, bro. Sometimes seeing shit like this makes me want to say fuck America, honestly. I love America, but fuck America. I'm so sick of the bullshit, the bureaucracy, the red tape, the fucking money laundering, the corruption, the insider trading, the sucking the cocks of all these corporations and special interests at the expense of the citizens. I'm over it, bro. There's this talk about Second Amendment protecting me. Where? When? What is everybody doing? We're asleep at the fucking wheel, just getting fucked. How many more millions of people are going to be put out on the streets, on their ass, homeless, until people just rise up and demand? Are there going to be millions of people camping in front of Capitol Hill? Are we going to do anything in front of the White House at all? Just, where are the protests? Where's the rage? Where's the anger? Where? Oh, I forgot. We're too divided because Trump won. Oh, and Kamala lost. So we're two distinct separate groups now, Team Red and Team Blue. So we hate each other more than when we're both getting fucked, because there's poor Republicans that are getting fucked, and there's poor Democrats there that are getting fucked. And they're both getting fucked together. But because they both voted for somebody different and feel very strongly about it, because more rights are being taken away or whatever bullshit they fed you on your stupid mainstream media, you're blind to what's really happening around you, that your future got sold out from under you. God damn, man. This system's so disgusting. I don't give a fuck. You can't defend this shit to me. Eat a dick. Seriously. Anybody defending this country for the shit like this that it does, eat a fucking dick. I love America, but hate it at the same time. I hate the government the most. Love the people. Love what it used to stand for. But whatever it is now is a husk of its ideals. The founding fathers would be fucking disgusted at what this country has become. I'm fucking disgusted at what this country has become. Look at the comment. The United States is completely unsustainable at this point. This is why I get angry at politicians and billionaires that call themselves patriots, all while screwing over the same elderly veterans and citizens that supported this country. There's no American dream anymore. It's all survival. Yep. Private equity is destroying every market in America, every single one. Companies owning 100,000 plus homes should be illegal. The greed in this country is obscene. The inhumanity is cruel. Oh my God. Check this out. I'm in Ohio, and the housing market here over the last 7 to 8 years is unlike anything I've ever seen. Homes that were bought for $130,000 in 2015 are now being sold for $590,000. I'm talking about tiny, disgusting, poorly built, 900 square foot shit boxes in quiet, mediocre neighborhoods. Then you've got better, average sized homes in nicer neighborhoods that were $300K 10 years ago, selling for $750,000+ now. Wild times. The scene where people are attending a workshop and then touring like they're on a field trip to learn how to exploit the poor souls who live there in the trailer park. It's beyond disgusting. Rent 2018 $750, 2020 $850, 2022 $1,200, 2024 $1,500. Unbelievable. It says they can tolerate rent increases because they can't afford to leave is just psychotic. I can't believe there are people out there who can say that shit out loud with no guilt. Sounds like straight up extortion. These private equity heads should be thrown in prison. Yeah, I don't live in the US, but I live in Australia. How is lobbying politicians any different from paying off politicians? We laugh at countries like Russia and other dictatorships who pay off rulers to be in power, but lobbying seems to be a very nice white-collar way of doing business, buying their way into politics, and often people suffer. What a shame. Here's the grand hurrah. Listen to this and think about it, and we'll end the episode on this. It's wild that we constantly have to force businesses to do the right thing when the government is the one that allows them to operate in the first place. And the light bulb goes off in your head. Oh shit, they're one and the same. It's called fascism. You're living under it. They erased the original meaning in the dictionary, by the way. Mussolini would be proud at what America has become. Perfect merger of corporation and state. Call it corporatism, whatever you want to call it. Privatize the gains, socialize the losses, baby. Corporate welfare state. Beautiful. All on the taxpayer's dime. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to this channel as well if you haven't already. They do pretty good work, apparently. Appreciate the person who recommended this episode. And as usual, we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.